What's up guys, welcome back to Daniel Talks Football right here on YouTube. I'm Daniel and we are back with another video. In this video we're going to be doing my Premier League predictions. The new Premier League season is nearly upon us and I'm very excited to sit down and have a look through all 20 sides and see where I think each one of them will finish. Before we do get into the video, please make sure to like the video, comment down below and also subscribe to the channel. Go follow the TikTok and the Instagram, Daniel Talks Football on both. Right, let's start off with 20th. In 20th place, I have Leicester City. Where do I start? Look, Kiernan build is an absolutely massive loss, and I'm not sure if Bruno or even any replacements that we do get in to come in and replace Pool will be enough. The fee we got for Kiernan wasn't massive at 30 million, and I don't think we're going to be able to replace that attacking output in both the goals and, more importantly, those forward passes and those, sort of progressive balls. He was really key for that in Enzo Maresca's system. But I don't think we're going to be able to replace that. I think Zaha and Hlosek are two excellent signings if we can get them through, and that would give people hope, I think. But I look at the team and I'm really not convinced. I don't think Cooper's an excellent manager. He's here now, I'm going to back him. But I'm already seeing the fan base, starting to be split because of performances in pre-season. And when the season hasn't even started and that's happening, there's definitely reasons to be concerned about the football club. I think we will struggle. I think the points deduction is going to be a massive talking point, and I could see that being 12 points, maybe, potentially even up towards 15 if we get a second breach. I don't think it's going to be a good season for Leicester. I could see Steve Cooper being probably one of the first managers to be sacked. And I think sadly we are finishing rock bottom and potentially competing with what Sheffield United did last season. Oh, I'm so happy football's back. Right, moving into 19th, and in 19th I've gone for Southampton. I think bringing back Harwood-Bellis and Downs are two very good signings. And I like the signing of Ben Brereton Diaz as well. But I don't think Southampton have enough to stay up here. I think Russell Martin is a decent enough manager, but I'm not entirely convinced. I think they need to do more in the market. Look, the signings like Lallana and Charlie Taylor are fine, but are they going to keep you up? I don't think so. I need to see more from Southampton before I believe they can stay up. I think this is a very strong Premier League this year. And I don't see them surviving. So Southampton, you're coming down with us, 19th. And in 18th, I've gone for Nottingham Forest. Now, I think Nottingham Forest have a really good group of players. And I don't want that to be lost. I think people like Hudson-Odoi, Elanga, and Murillo, all excellent footballers. The downside here is Nuno. Now, I don't think Nuno will see out the season. I don't think many people do think Nuno will see out the season. It's going to depend on how early they sack Nuno. If they sack Nuno in October and bring in a new manager, a fresh manager with good ideas, who that could be, God knows. But if they do that, I have hope and they could stay up. But I don't want to be basing my predictions upon other predictions to happen throughout the season. I think with Nuno in charge, I think this Forest side do go down. I don't think he's a good manager. I didn't think he was a good appointment at the time, and I said that. And I think they should have got rid of him in the summer. I think it's short-term thinking with having Nuno in charge, and I don't think it will work out. So yeah, I think Forest in 18th, sadly. The appointment needs to be really good. I think it's also worth saying, that appointment would need to be bang on, and I don't think that will happen. So yeah, Forest, I think you're going down. In 17th, I've got Ipswich. Now, the feeling around Ipswich is great, and this is why I've decided to get them to stay up. They've had back-to-back promotions, and those players will be on a high. Those players will know how to win games of football. Those players will be positive coming into the season. The pressure's off Ipswich. Nobody expects Ipswich to survive, and because of that, they can come into it sort of going, well, okay, the pressure's off. Let's see what we can do. I think McKenna is an excellent manager, and I think bringing somebody like Hutchinson back on a permanent deal is such a great piece of business from Ipswich. I think the fans will push them over the line. I think they'll do it. I think 17th place for Ipswich. In 16th, I've gone for Brentford. Now, I think it'll be an okay season. Tony's back and, hopefully fully fit. However, the little signings about the little signings to be excited about is concerning. You know, Thiago looks fine, and obviously they've just announced Carvalho as well, who is an exciting signing. But I don't particularly see much in that Brentford squad to make me think, yes, this is going to be a really good season from Thomas Frank's men. They'll survive. It'll go down to 35, 36 games, and they'll sort of get survival over the line. Everyone will be like, oh yeah, Brentford are for another year. Nothing particularly special. Moving into 15th in Everton. I think this will be a season that all Evertonians will be happy with. Feels like a bit of a filler season, obviously, with this being the final season at Goodison before they do move into that brand new Bradley or Dock Stadium. There's been a couple of good signings. I think O'Brien looks like a really, really good centre-back, and Undai is a good player on his day, and he showed that at Sheffield United. And I think Lundstrom on a loan could be a good piece of business. Tim, you know what I'm talking about, the guy from Villa. He looks like a really, really good centre mid as well. And I've got a lot of faith in this Everton side. I think it'll be a good season for the Toffees, and I could see Dyche leading them to survival. In 14th, I've gone for Fulham. Now, I think Silva is building a really, really good squad here. Emile Smith-Rowe is an excellent addition. You've already seen that in pre-season with the goals he has been scoring for Fulham. He's a class player, and if he, can get into this Fulham side and show the world what he can do, then there's no doubts that Fulham even potentially push up this league. They've brought Sessegnon back as well, and if he can reignite the form he showed before at Fulham, then you've got a really, really good player there. I think they still do need to get a Polino replacement through the door, and I don't think that would be Scott McTominay. I think they need to get an actual sitter in, and there's not many of them about at the moment, which is why I haven't potentially pushed them on as much as I could, because I think defensively, in that defensive midfield role, they are quite weak. But I do think it will be a good season for Fulham, and I think they will finish 14th. In 13th position, I've gone for Wolves. Now, there's not been much business from Wolves that actually impresses me. A lack of proven players in Europe, I think, will be a concern. Losing Neto will be an absolutely massive loss, and I'm not sure how they're going to reinvest that money. I trust Wolves to reinvest money well. They always have shown they reinvest money well, but I'm not hearing how it's going to be reinvested yet as of current. I think it'll be a solid season for O'Neill. I can't see them particularly building on sort of push for Europe under Gary O'Neill, and I think that's something they will need to consider at some point. It's something Bournemouth considered when they let him go to get in Iraola. And I think I saw they gave O'Neill a new deal until 2027. I'm not quite sure about that decision personally, simply because that's a 3-year... Are Wolves going to be happy with just surviving for 3 years? I don't know. But I think it should be a solid season for Wolves. Moving into 12th now, and I've gone for Bournemouth. Now, I've just spoken about Bournemouth there, and I'm a really big fan of Iraola. The loss of Solanke is a massive one, but I think Iraola was a top manager, and if he can get the best out of Enezu now, then I think it's going to be a really, really good season for Bournemouth. They've got some good players there, a good young squad, Max Aarons, Alex Scott. I could go on and on and on. That Bournemouth squad is going places, and they are starting to build. I think under Iraola, that's a really, really promising project. I don't know how long Iraola will stay there. I think he will have a good season and he will impress, and I could see at the end of the season potentially him moving on. I know Bournemouth fans are going to like to hear that, but I rate him really, really highly, and I can potentially see if Vincent Kompany got the buying job this summer, I can see Kompany getting sacked at the end of the season and Iraola getting the buying job. I don't even think that's that crazy to say it. If Pep moves on, I could see him getting the City job. I think he's a really, really good manager, and I think it'll be a good season for Bournemouth. Moving into 11th, and I've gone for Oliver Glasner's Crystal Palace. Now, Glasner has this side cooking. Kamada and Sarr are two signings I do still need to be convinced upon. However, if Glasner can keep up the form he showed with this group towards the end of last season, then in theory they should be able to do a lot better than 11th. I don't think they will get that same form. I think the loss of Elise is a massive one, and Guehi will prove to be a huge loss. But I think it'll be a good season for Palace, and I can see them finishing in 11th. Sorry for the short break there. Had to put the fan on. God, it's warm in the UK at the moment. Right, moving into 10th, and we've got Chelsea. Now, where do you even start with Chelsea? I think we've got to start at the manager, and the fact that it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I I'm fully prepared to be saying I told you so in 3-4 months' time. Enzo Maresca and Chelsea will not work. Enzo Maresca is inexperienced. Enzo Maresca has had, just over a full season in management, full stop. I'm really interested to see how it does work, or how he tries to make it work. But I just think Chelsea are a massive mess at the moment. I think Enzo Maresca's style of system, he's got one style, and if that doesn't work, plan B is do plan A better. We saw this all of last season. I think Chelsea fans will struggle with that, and I also think that Chelsea as a team, well, look at the amount of players they've brought in. They've got 45 players on the books at the moment. Who's starting? It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Chelsea, you're finishing 10th and ends you'll be gone by the end of the season, mate. Moving into 9th, and I have gone for Brighton. I think Brighton could have a good start to the season. I think they could have a good season in general. Look, I expect slow patches throughout it. 31-year-old Herzler at the wheel. There will be slow patches, but I think they will kick into gear eventually. And, they'll go on to have a really, really good season. Minte, I think he's a really, really good signing. And one that Brighton fans should be excited about. Newcastle didn't want to let him go. And I think the fact that Brighton have managed to get him in is a massive, massive plus. So yeah, Brighton in 9th. In 8th, then I've gone for West Ham. I think Lopetegui looks like a really, really good manager. I was unsure about this appointment to start with, simply because I thought the style of football could be quite similar to Moyes, but after watching a little bit of West Ham in pre-season, I've just been really, really impressed with what I have seen. I think some of the signings have been really, really good. Fulkrug, Wan-Bissaka's just signed, obviously. The guy who was supposed to go to Barcelona, whose name has slipped my mind. They look really, really good to West Ham, and I'm impressed. I think sort of any side from that 8th up could finish in the top 4, because in a normal, this is a really, really strong Premier League, as I've already said. In a normal season, I could very much see myself saying, West Ham, they get 4th, they get 5th. I don't think they will get European football, simply because I think the quality of sides around them is so strong. But I think Lopetegui's going to do really, really well with this Hammers side. And yeah, I think they'll get 8th. Moving into 7th, and I've gone for Villa. Now, a drop-off is expected from Villa. I think they've got one of the best squads in the league. I think they've probably got the 4th or 5th best squad in the league. However, they achieved 4th last season with Conference League football. They're now in the Champions League, which will be a big focus for Villa, which is to be expected, obviously. I can't see them, getting back into that top 4. I think it's possible. Obviously, I think it's possible. I don't think they will, though. I can see a little bit more of an off-season for the Villains. But I think 7th is a good finish. They'll do all right in the Champions League. I can see them getting out of their group, depending on what that looks like. And yeah, I think it'll be a good season for Villa. Moving into 6th, I've gone for Newcastle. I think it'll be an improvement on last year. Tonali coming back will feel like a new signing, more or less. A new £70 million signing alongside Bruno in that midfield, presuming he stays. You've got Isaac up front, Gordon on the left, presuming he stays as well and doesn't get that move to Liverpool that's being talked about. I think he'll go down to the last few days, and I can see them sort of being around that top 4, being in the top 4 at times for the season. But I think they will just miss out on it. However, do not be surprised if they do, because I think Newcastle have a very, very good chance of getting into the top 4. Moving into 5th now, and I've gone for Tottenham Hotspur. Now, things are looking really, really good at Spurs. They've got a project that they believe in under Ange Postecoglou. They lost, I think it was 5 out of the last 6 games at the end of last season. Postecoglou stayed and he's been backed. Bringing in Solanke could be a really, really class signing, and finally is their Harry Kane replacement that they have been waiting for. I think Solanke will need time. And I still want to see them add some sort of quality before I can sort of tip them to get into that top 4. However, I think Archie Gray is a class signing. People have been a little bit unsure, but what I saw in the Championship last season, this guy looks like a really, really good player and versatile as well. Right back, centre mid, all throughout the midfield, really. I think 5th is a decent season for Spurs, and it'll be Europa League football again for Postecoglou's men. Moving into the top 4 now, and in 4th I've gone for Manchester United. The signings have really, really impressed me, and that's what we need to start with. Ten Hag's brought back 2 players he already knows in the form of De Ligt and Mazraoui, and I think those 2 players could potentially do very, very well. We've seen it's been a mixed bag with Ten Hag going back to players he's had previously. You know, Onana, I think, is a good signing and will work out. Same with Martinez. Obviously, Anthony, we can probably all call that a flop at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see how De Ligt and Mazraoui does. I think the loss of Wan-Bissaka is one that I'm not sure if I would have done. I wonder if Wan-Bissaka is a better right back than Mazraoui, but Ten Hag's personal views would see Mazraoui as better. Yoro is a top signing, and I know he's going to miss a decent chunk of the season, but Yoro is a very good signing, and I think that shows a lot of ambition from the United board to be able to get over the line. And then Joshua Zirkzee to add some sort of more firepower in the attack. I think the signings are good, and we've seen this for United and it hasn't quite come off. Don't think it's enough to challenge for the title, but I think they'll get fourth. I think it'll be a really, really good season for Manchester United under Ineos and the Glazers. Moving into third, and I've gone for Liverpool. There's been no new signings under Slot yet, and this is something that does need to be spoken about. Obviously, they were looking at getting Zubimendi, but that's now fallen through with Zubimendi choosing to stay at Real Sociedad. That's concerning. I think this side does need new signings. I think a DM is needed. The squad is good, and while there has been a new manager brought in, and I think everybody understands that, you don't look at that squad and go, oh, they really, really need new players. No, it's a good group, and potentially saving money and being able to spend that on new contracts with forms of Van Dijk's, Trent's, Salah's, that keeps that group together. If then next summer you decide to let them people go, then that will be the summer when the rebuild starts. But this summer, I couldn't really see a massive rebuild going on at Liverpool. And I think they will be okay. I think they'll finish third. Sorry, I think they could challenge, but they will fall short. Moving into the top two now, and I'm really sorry to be boring, but in second I've gone for Arsenal. I really thought this could be Arsenal's year. Man City's charge will be overhanging them, and we're supposed to find out about that at the start of 2025. Now, will the sanctions from that be imposed then? No, I imagine they'll probably be imposed at the start of the new season if it were to be a point deduction or something like that. But I'm not impressed by Arsenal. I was really expecting this to be the summer I was going to go out and get Osimhen, and you're there. Go out and get David even, and you're there. But that hasn't happened. Or Sesko, or go out and get a striker. I think you need one. Jesus isn't quite it, and Martinelli's not been firing. But they've brought in Marino and Calafiori, two alright signings, but do they need another centre-back who can do a full-back option? I don't think they really do. And Marino, good player, but is it that much of an upgrade of what you've already got? I don't know. I think it'll be the same story as the last two seasons have been. Arsenal will start on top and they'll be doing well, and they'll finish second. And it's harsh, but I think that's what's going to happen. And then that leads us with Man City. Man City will win the league. Do you want to go to bed? Do you want to have a sleep? Because watch paint dry might be more interesting. Just hope it's the final year, and let's hope that next year a points deduction does come along. So there we go. There are my Premier League predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you all again in the next video. See ya!